Robyn are two fun friends diving deep into conversations where nothing is taboo. They believe in eating dessert before dinner and wearing the bikini. They're allergic to labels, authority, and cheap shoes. Currently, they're launching themselves through life being the good time, bold enough to take risks and inquisitively asking, what's next? They hail from New Hampshire, but they could be anywhere dressed in cute clothes. If they had to share a tombstone, it would read, "Curiosity killed these cats." Your hosts, Lisa and Robyn on the mic.
Welcome back. Welcome back to Lisa and Robyn on the mic. You are listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. You can watch, stream, and listen on WSMN.live, YouTube, Facebook. And if you don't catch us live, you can always catch us again on Spotify. Please give us 5 stars there and follow and like and all that other nonsense that everyone is demanding of everyone. But it's free and it's very helpful. And you always want to help us because you love us. And we love you. And we love you.
Help us grow. Help us grow. Help us grow.
Our desire this year is to...
help you bloom.
Yes.
Oh, my God,
listening.
yes. Oh, I love it. Got me.
We have a wonderful guest today. His name is Chris Marr, and he is the owner of Move You, a moving company that serves all of New England, based here in Bedford, New Hampshire. Welcome, Chris.
Thank you.
It is so good to have you.
Before we get started, I just want to close out our desire thing, what we're talking about.
Sure, first hour.
Giving people tips to just ask better questions for yourself. Start by asking, how am I complicit in my discomfort? Am I angry? Am I frustrated? Am I disappointed? What role did I play in this situation? What's my part? Did I set a boundary? Did I have an expectation? Did I or do I have an expectation? Did I communicate clearly? Did I let my intentions be known? Sometimes when we ask ourselves these questions, it helps us communicate to the other person by recognizing our part.
Did I listen to understand, or was I listening to prove my position, defend my position, or deflect the conversation we were trying to have?
Yes.
We were talking about desires, and everyone always uses January as a year for like, what does the rest of my year look like? It's a perfect time of year to evaluate what last year was, what this year should look like. We were talking about if you base how you want your life to look by desired feelings, you can probably have a better indicator and a roadmap of where you should go. What was your underlying desire to start a business?
Necessity.
Necessity. I love it. Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about that.
My daughter was coming into the world, and I was working for a company at the time. I also have a fitness and health degree. So I was trying to get personal training clients. I was working for a moving company. And I think a lot of people, at least in the trades, they start a business after working for someone and seeing maybe cracks in the system, or just you get so good at doing that thing and maybe you're not appreciated enough, or so I kind of started my own business, and a lot of the guys ran with me. But that was in Phoenix. I grew up in New Hampshire. I moved to Phoenix for 8 years, and that was out there. I started my own company in Phoenix. We did mostly senior moving, which was awesome.
Yeah.
I learned a lot about how to take care of people's things, be very calm and patient. And I think now, starting my business again in New Hampshire, it's just I brought those qualities with me, and it's going great.
Yeah. As a realtor, one of the qualities we cannot have enough of is patience. And when people are always very emotional during that time period, and nobody wants to move their house.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to move their house. And I think the senior piece is huge because it's such an underserved market. And what seniors want to move their stuff? What seniors are actually capable of moving their stuff?
Right.
I think one of the jokes now is, you had your personal training business. When we're young, we want to be thin. Once you hit a certain age, you don't really care about being thin as much as you care about being strong.
Yeah.
I can barely lug all the groceries into the house. I don't really want to lug this couch with my husband again down the stairs. I want a moving company. When we first hired, we've moved a lot actually. And when we always did everything together. You didn't even think, oh, there's a professional company that does this, so you don't have to enlist your friends and promise to buy peers and have everyone come over on Thursday and all of that stuff. And when we first hired a moving company, they come in, they pack everything, they label everything, they move everything, and then they can undo that as well. And never want to move myself again, ever.
Oh.
Ever. The thought of packing a box
When I
gives me anxiety.
so I like to set up my life. I don't like clutter. So I always thought, like, when we moved 4 years ago, and I thought, I watched my mom move, and she literally has a linen closet full of sheets. She has twin bed sheets that she's had for probably since we were a kid. I'm like, why do you have that many? Everybody needs one set of sheets on their bed and then an extra pair.
Excuse me. When you're not going to do laundry on time, you need 4 sets per bed. Go on.
Okay,
Continue
I already
with your
get that. So I just thought moving is going to be so easy because I don't have any other clutter. I can literally just open the closets. It's everything we need. It's so and I'm like, man, the amount of crap. So my philosophy was that, and I'm like, no, I don't keep all that other stuff. Oh my God, the amount of crap that you still keep and you hold on to is unbelievable. And I'm like, oh.
What do you want your clients to feel when they hire you?
I've heard a lot from senior citizens that they're like, you make me feel at home when I forget the quote. She said, like, you make me feel at home in my own home. So
you make people feel comfortable, relaxed.
It's a very stressful time for people.
Yes.
I think a lot too, especially seniors, a lot of times they have furniture that's like heavy, but a lot of it has a lot of sentimental value to them. They were buying pieces, we have a cloth headboard, in our room. It's not a big deal. Like, you don't think about that, but some people have, it's been it's an heirloom or something that's been passed down, or, they need it to be just so. And a lot of times movers don't appreciate their mindset of, like, this is precious to me. It's like their diamond necklace, or it's their diamond ring, or it was their grandmother's, and you can't, it's gone. It's gone. Like when we moved, somehow one of my aunt's rings, like, I used to be a kid sitting on her lap, swirling her ring, and I always wanted that ring. Even as a teenager, I would come by and I'm like, I want that ring, I want that ring. Well, she gave it to me, and it got lost in the move somewhere, and I'm like, you can never get that back.
Yeah.
And she's gone.
Yeah.
And I don't ever want to tell her that it was.
Yeah. And so my friend just lost a couple of rings in her house, and she has torn her house apart twice. Carolyn cannot find her rings. I know that feeling. When you start a business, how do you prevent yourself from feeling overwhelmed?
I think that's inevitable.
Well, how did you push through the fear of making that break of saying, okay, I'm going to do this for me. I'm going to start my own business. That's scary, stepping out and being like, you're leaving corporate. Where
the jobs come in, the sales are lined up.
Yeah.
Where you're just doing the work.
Where you're doing the work and getting the paycheck for it instead of creating all of it.
Yeah. All of the lead time for making sure that there's enough business to pay all these people.
Yeah. So I can speak on experience, and I do read a lot. I actually read a lot more when I was younger. Not in high school. I was the worst student. But once I started to read because I wanted to, I very quickly just fell in love with self-help. And that can be dangerous too, because then you can get obsessed with learning but not doing.
Yes.
So to go back to your point, I think it's important to not quit your day job. So if you want to start a business, don't just quit. And just like, there's also a thing about not having a plan B. So if you only have a plan A, you're going to make that plan work. But from my experience, when I started my company in Phoenix, I had quit and started with nothing. When I started it here, I had a part-time job or full-time job that I would do. And I think that dampers the fear a little bit because you still have money coming in while you're building this other thing.
Yeah, that's great advice. But it's exhausting advice, right? Because if you're already busy at a job, then to come and then go do another job. But if you have a deadline of, I have this for X period of time, but it also, I think, makes you feel a little freer because you can see what works and what doesn't work in a business. You can make those changes because you know that there's no worse fear than trying to learn while money is going out but not coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just that overwhelming panic. And then there's the idea or the feeling of failure versus successes and all of that other stuff. How do you deal with... So you were successful in Phoenix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was an owner-operator. So
You're owner-operator.
I was more self-employed than I guess a business owner.
Yeah.
I think if you're still on the job every day, you're not really a business owner.
Yeah.
You're self-employed.
Yep.
So if you're just a one-guy show, it's different than having 8 people out there doing it for you. Like today, I have guys out there. So I'm like an owner of something that's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being like
Self-employed. That's a good
That's what
distinction.
I always say you're either self-employed or you're a business owner.
Yeah.
Because we have my husband is a contractor, and there's so many times that you meet a lot of people in the trades. He's like, well, we have there's a friend of ours, an electrician. He's self-employed. He works for himself. He's not a business owner because he's not. I'm working. He's not trying to grow it. He's still out in the field. Being a business owner is like, now you can delegate. If you're self-employed, you're doing all the work.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's, to be honest, in so many businesses, it's hard not to be a business owner, operator in the field.
You have to start that way.
You have to start that way because you have to set up quality control. I also think there's an element to don't ask someone to do something you don't know how to do yourself.
Right.
Because how would you really know how to tell them to do a job well?
Right.
If you've never done that job. And also it's hard, but when you're in that, then it's hard to break free and relieve yourself of the duty of doing it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is very hard. I think I worked for a company, a tent and event company, where this guy, we were already employed there. They switched ownership. This guy came in, had never done the work before. So he bought this company, never even set up a tent for a wedding or anything. And he came in trying to, just to your point, like, how can you tell us? You don't even know how to do it yourself. So there's that. And then there's also, there's a fear you have to get over letting other people do it and mess up.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to mess up. It's like, I'm a father. So a lot of times with my child, you want them to experience things and without jumping in to help them. And so I think if you do a good job coaching and setting the example, showing them yourself, you know how to do it, and then, let them go out there on their own, try it, come back, go over it with them. How did you do? What was scary? What do you want to improve on? And then go from there.
Yeah.
Creating some really good SOPs.
Yeah, processes is,
Yeah.
yes.
But being able, it's true. You hire somebody and we don't train them to our level of expectation. And a lot of times we end up getting disappointed. Again, it goes back to the thing I was saying earlier. How are we complicit in our own misery? As a business owner, if you're disgruntled with your staff, well, we always have a part to play in it. Anytime there's one more than just ourselves, we always play a part.
Well, and then there's one element of the business, right? Buying and selling real estate as a business is different than dealing with the people in buying and selling real estate. Mm-hmm. My cousin also sells real estate in North Carolina, and she said we went through this entire transaction and the seller didn't tell us that there was a tax lien on the house. That's bigger than the sale of the house. So, is selling the house a problem? No, that was fairly uneventful. Right. But the people in the transaction, right, are a whole nother set of activities. And I think as a business owner, you have to assume that there's always problems. It's what kind of business you have is how do you handle problems when they arise. we were talking about a lost ring, dinged furniture. I think the understanding when you hire a business is there's probably going to be some kind of problem somewhere in there.
Yeah.
I think that's,
You have to factor those in.
but how a business handles their problems is where I think the wheat and the chaff come together. It's like where I would never hire a company again is if they don't handle a problem well. Not that there was a problem in the first place, but how do we address these problems?
Yeah.
How do you feel as a problem solver? Because I feel like physical fitness as a business is nothing but solving problems. You're out of shape, we're getting you in shape. You've got sticky little legs, we got to get you big legs.
Yeah.
You have no balance, we got to get you balance, right? So that's a problem solving business. Is moving a problem solving business?
Yeah. And I think also setting the expectation before goes to your point you were saying earlier about relationships, or when I first walked in here. So when I speak to a client or we're doing an estimate, I tell them I'm not going to move your jewelry.
Yes, I'm not going to move that really high-end expensive stuff.
I don't want to be liable for that. So I'll put it in your car for you, but I'm not going to transport that. And then also owning your mistakes. I think even in a relationship, like you guys said earlier, if you're at fault, then if I break a piece of furniture, which it does not happen often, but accidents do happen, I approach the customer and say, hey, listen, I did this. Even if I think as a crew leader, I would almost vouch for the guys sometimes because I'm in charge of everyone there. If someone came up to me, God, dude, I just broke the leg of a chair. I'm like, okay, I'll go up to the customer with the piece of furniture because I know how to communicate that with them or to them without. And most of the time we're so good at helping them relax that if I do come, they're like, oh, don't worry about it. You guys are doing awesome.
I think when you're
It is
being
what it
real and
is.
honest with somebody and being able to own it, taking ownership, and people see that, I think it goes a lot further. Having patience, just giving empathy or sympathy to that person, I think goes a long way and changes their mindset too. Being like, hey, you know what? It sucks. And it kind of gently just reminds them that I can't.
Yeah, it happens.
Stuff is going to happen.
Yeah, and that's why I think is that we had a problem a few weeks ago, and the other realtor just vomited in a text message, one long run on sense of the problem. And I said, we have time. We fix anything with time. Thank you for letting me know. And it was fixed. And then I said, you're going to give me 48 hours before you ask me anything. Give your client the expectation I won't have any answers for 48 hours. Okay. I wrote back, it is solved, all set, move forward, contact your lender. And she wrote, I'm going to kiss you when I see you. And I said to her, we're actually in the business of problem solving because there's so much information out there. You're in a business technically I can do myself. Me and my friends could move my house. Do I want to move my house? No, right?
Yeah.
Now, some people are not going to be able to move their house by themselves. What's a good lead generator for you? Is it realtors, property management? What are some good? And then I was just going to ask you a question, but now I kind of want to get on this for a second.
Yeah, realtors are huge.
What other kinds of good lead generators? Radio shows, what else?
Yeah, right? Radio shows. To be honest, Facebook groups, like if it's the Nashua group, if there's a mom group, if there's I live in Litchfield, so there's a Litchfield What's Up. Everyone on there posts stuff in the town. Hey, I'm looking for a plumber. I'm also a part of a B&I group. I just came from there this morning. If you guys know business.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
we do.
So I just came from there, and so I'm used to this conversation. Realtors, Facebook groups are huge. We senior communities or property management, and then I think those are the top three.
So do you guys still specialize or focus on senior moving, or are you in general anybody?
I'll move anyone. It's just I say that we specialize in senior moving because I want to be one of the you think first that we'll do senior moving.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's also putting yourself. It's also branding yourself in a different light. Hey, here's something a little bit extra.
It's almost like you can provide the most value.
Yeah, because I don't want to be I don't care about being, oh, we do it so fast, or we do it very like cool.
Or very cheap, or very,
No.
How do you do it when do you move seniors into like assisted living and things like that? And
yeah.
how do you guys handle that? Like, what's your takeaway? Because that's got to be sad.
Yes. It is sad when you move someone in and you know that's probably going to be their last move. And then a few months later, you're on campus and you're, hey, where's Mrs. Someone? Oh, they passed away. You're like, oh, man. But it does feel nice to have known that you gave someone a great experience. And so much so that after, when they see you in the lunchroom, they're like, oh, these guys are the best. And
you help
like,
transition them into something that's painful.
Yeah, they're scared to move into that place. They're leaving this house that they've lived in forever or 40 years.
Yeah.
And they have to get rid of, they're moving into a 2-bedroom apartment or 1-bedroom apartment, or their husband just passed, or the wife has dementia, so they have to move to this place. And they're leaving their house and you're bringing them to this new place.
They're leaving home.
Yeah.
That's what we were talking about earlier, is like what home is for us. And that can be really emotional. It's not just the furniture that you're packing up. It's just the moving that in your minds, being the one that's moving, you're leaving your home. And a lot of times these people, they're leaving their home and they're not expecting to be like the last one standing. You've lost your partner and your home.
Yeah.
And now you're in your 70s and your 80s and you got to go start a new adventure all by yourself.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Yeah. And I think every single move, some moves are exciting. You're moving to your first home. You're moving out of state for your great new job. There's a lot of excitement, and even in that, very excited, thrilled for this new adventure, the act of moving your house or selling your house and buying a new one, there's such a stressful time period because it is completely out of your control in a feeling, whether it's and
you're closing that chapter,
and you're uprooting the routine of your life, where your stuff is, all that other stuff. So it has that whole thing. But even if it's the most desired thing that you want, this move,
right,
it can be really stressful. So what is one thing that you didn't expect to know when you started this business that you've learned?
I'm not great at confrontation.
Yeah.
And I've found myself in a few situations where maybe it wasn't my fault, but just you're going to get people who get upset. And you're going to have customers say, your guys did this. And it's like, maybe that's not a good answer, but I've found myself in some confrontational, being the owner of a company. How do I resolve this?
You became a conflict resolution expert, and you didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, with even conflict, I think that's a great answer for that, because either conflict amongst our crew members, which doesn't happen often, but it can.
Yeah, because people are people.
Yeah. Or, man, the moving industry, the people that apply, it's the trades. So it's slim pickings to try to find a really good person.
So I'm going to ask you another question that kind of goes off topic, but it's not really off topic. Physical fitness, there was just that study that 70% of people wouldn't be healthy enough to go through a draft, right? Your business is a very physical business.
Yeah.
Do you seek walk through the gym, like, hey, I love that you lift that 325-pound thing. Do you want to make some money doing that? Where do you get your clientele? Your employees, not your clientele, your employees.
So I've seen the skinniest guys move way better than guys that are jacked.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think.
Slow.
Well,
they don't have the same range of motion, do they?
I think.
All those muscles are in the way.
So that's also a part where I try to differentiate ourselves from the rest of the people in industry, because I could shout out a few names of companies, but they put out there that they're big and strong and cool, but what about their personality? What about how they act amongst like in front of the customer, these customer service skills. So I could teach anyone how to pick up a chair and move it down the hallway. You can get stronger. It's a lot harder to teach someone how to act.
So what do you do do you do team building, like to
Yes.
build community with your guys?
Yeah.
So what do you do, like, as a business owner, and now you're thinking like, boy, I got to keep all these people on a vibration. I got to keep them motivated, inspired,
Happy to work here.
appreciated, all of these things, like, because you are building community.
yeah.
And the happier that your people are, the happier the result it reflects out.
Yes. And so that's probably my favorite question, because from my health and fitness background, group training, being a coach, this is my team. I'm the coach of this team. We have games, we have practices. Games are like the big house in Bedford, right? Practices are these little apartments or
Yeah.
little things like that. So we have to practice. We have our slow season. We have our busy season. The culture is very important to me. Move U actually started out as Move University because I wanted to build a place. I was looking around myself when I worked for these other companies, and these guys, most of them didn't go to school, maybe didn't graduate high school. I'm kind of stereotyping here, but I wanted to change that stereotype because there was few far in between like myself who was doing this maybe because I had to. Like I had other dreams and aspirations, but I just found myself in this moving company. And there's a lot of people that get laid off or they just like need something to do. So I wanted to create this place, this Move University, where I could teach these people, you want to be a photographer? Cool. Work here until you figure that out. So I'm going to get you healthy, fit, because that's like the main point of being a mover. You have to be able to do the job.
I like that. I like the fact that it's university, so it's almost like a transition, like a transitional place to be for people. Like
And a learning experience.
Yes, a learning experience. You make money, you move, but like you're recognizing all these people that have other dreams and aspirations instead of just being a mover. Like it sounds like you have some pretty good core values for your business.
Yes. And I hear that in our reviews and customers when they call back or I check in with them. I had this one lady, I love this. I have the voicemail. She's like, the two gentlemen you sent over, I forget their names. They were two of the nicest people I've ever met. Like, not only did they take care of my furniture, but they were just so nice and thoughtful. And that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm coaching these kids or younger people or even people my age. For Christmas, I gifted them. Have you guys, you like to read?
Yeah.
Love
You
to
read
read.
the 4 agreements?
Oh, yes.
So I gifted them
Audio.
the 4 agreements. I gifted them a new workout plan that they can do. I gifted them, like, amongst other things. But in there, that's what's in there. I show appreciation. I praise, good job, guys. I do compliment sandwiches. So if, do you know about compliment sandwiches?
No.
Oh, man, it's the best. So if you have something you want to get across to someone, and you don't want to just say, hey, listen, you need to do
I
good
didn't know
at this.
that was the name of it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so you say, hey, listen, good job last Saturday. I want to talk to you about this thing. And then you end it with another, like the 2 pieces
Yeah.
of bread are the compliments, and then
You
the meat.
sandwich the negative, and yeah.
So this is
I
a quick-
literally thought, like, if somebody gave you a compliment, like, are
you
you
were
getting a
giving
free
them a
sub?
sandwich, right? That's what I thought.
Because
it
I'm
was
hungry.
too. That's what I thought too. It was really funny because I was saying that the other day in the TED Talk incubator. I wanted to learn photography, and I went to the class, and they said, "Okay, bring your best photo in," and no one understood. I called it couching. You tell someone something you loved about the photo, you talk about something that could be improved, and then you tell them something else that you love. Because I thought it was a creative endeavor. We don't want to, poop on
Staunch,
someone's
yeah.
babies.
Yeah.
Oh, what an ugly baby. Like, no one wanted to do that, right? So you do it through this way, but no one else in the class knew that skill, so I stopped taking my favorite photos in because I didn't need you all crapping on my photo. I
Yeah.
wanted to like this photo. But the teacher always, what you did, I love what you did with this angle. You know, you could make it a little more focused. You can do that by using this.
Yeah.
This.
It's constructive
and then,
criticism, and
Yeah.
people don't, people are just going to go shoot right out of the gate to the
right,
negative.
because no one wants
So-
to be criticized.
I have to say, do you guys have a dress code?
Yes. Everyone has to wear a shirt. We have a uniform. You can wear like different pants that you want, but everyone has to be in a uniform.
And how about like personal grooming and stuff? Because we've had some people in our house like, I don't want to be alone. I don't want to be alone in the house with this electrician, or I don't want to be alone. I'm like, when are you coming home? Like, they're sketchy.
Yeah.
And
Well,
they're
like,
like
they're
up and
like-
down, up and down, up and down the steps, and like they're like not pilfering through your drawers, but like, dude, it's like it's scary.
Well,
Yeah.
I laugh like, is this prison release? Is this your first job out of prison release?
Yeah. So I saw something recently that I really like. It's like I have friends who have LLCs, degrees, and felonies, and I learn from all of them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't judge someone for their past. I look at where are you now and where do you want to go.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't not hire someone if they had a bad past. It's like, okay, what do you want to do? If you could prove to me and work with me, then we can create a great experience and move you forward in life, because a lot of people have come from a really bad past and
Sure.
made something great.
Right.
So
Yeah, it's not about past, but it's also about they are the face of your company every
Yes.
time they show up and represent. And
Yeah.
you don't want somebody coming in looking like, they just stood in line and got on the truck, and like they come by for work, like, hey, we got work today.
I've got
And
another new one. Personal hygiene.
That's what I said. What is the personal hygiene? Like,
yeah.
I was at the supermarket, and I would ask somebody where something was because I was in a different supermarket. He was like, follow me, I'll show you. I could not walk further enough behind him while still maintaining things because he smelled so bad. I was
Oh,
like, when was the
yes.
last time this dude showered? Do people have to work with him? He's in produce.
yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Can't
you're
stand
like,
the smell of dirty hair. Like, woo, that is gross.
this was,
Don't cut my meat.
oh my goodness. And I don't know if this is a younger group trying to save the planet by not showering, or if everyone's buying those body Axe. I don't need to shower. I spray this on myself in
Full body
72
deodorant.
hours
It's
later.
not working, bud.
So there's many reasons.
Okay.
The cleaner you eat, the less you stink.
Ah,
That is
oh,
true.
that's a good point.
Yep. Because your body's trying to get rid of these
Toxin.
toxins. So
Yeah. Really good. I love the physical background, the physical
I'll
fitness
I'll go
background.
all day. That's what I research.
Really?
That's like,
So what is your passion? What is your dream? What is your desire? You started this
yes.
as a business owner. And then so we were talking about it. A lot of times business owners start a business because they want to, you don't want to answer to somebody else. You think that you can do it better. And 9 times out of 10, we can do it better. But it also gives us freedom. A lot of times people go into business for themselves to buy their freedom. What is your ultimate desire? What's your dream? Why did you start this?
I was really good at it.
Yeah.
I already do health and fitness. It just talking to customers and moving things, it couldn't be any easier for me.
Yeah.
That's why I'm 34. I have guys that are 21 and they're like, "What the hell, Chris? Like, how do you come on, let's go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go keep it moving." So that was the name of my fitness company, was Keep It Moving.
That's cool.
I don't know if that's really what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
My passion is music, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
Music and fitness. I used to tell people, don't argue with me about music and fitness. But those are opinions, at least music is. So I got into moving because I just realized this is really easy for me to do.
Yeah. And you
But
probably make good
starting that
money.
starting the business, it said you mentioned your daughter too. Like,
Yeah.
does it give you freedom to be
Yes.
more with your family, the opportunity to travel more, or
Yeah, so when my daughter, like the first 3 years of her life, I had my company and I was able to take off like every Monday. Her and I just went and did something. And then when we moved back here, I had to work somewhere while I built this again. And I didn't have that freedom. I had to work Christmas Eve. I had to. The freedom part is huge. I could be here with you right now.
wait, who moves on Christmas Eve? Who even wants to
Are you
move on
kidding me?
Christmas Eve?
No, this was
Really?
So about the not quit your day job thing. When I restarted Move You in New Hampshire, I worked at Amazon as a delivery driver. No, there's no ego in here. I'm like, okay, what can I do that will give me flexibility and something I'll not want to jump off a cliff doing. I need something physical outside where I'm by myself. I just listen to music the whole time.
Yeah.
Delivering people's packages.
Podcasts, audiobooks.
Yeah.
Wow, yeah.
I drove the
Good at
big
that.
trucks, so I wasn't in the little vans. So I got like decent pay. And I thought, and I told them, I'm only working here until my company gets big enough to where I don't need to be here. I was there for a year.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I would take off days to do moves on top of being a delivery driver for freedom.
Yeah.
And I think not even for, it's not like I feel so good that I have this company. It's creating a place that these guys can come to. I wanted to create a really good university again.
Positive impact.
Yes.
You're
Well,
leaving positive impact.
Yeah. And all the people's lives you can change that they are happy to work. Hey, remember working for X? Like you can be a great stepping stone. Because I do think it would be hard to be a mover at 50. Being someone who's over 50, you know, you're just like my hip hurts every
that's
morning.
why I like the I
sneezed.
like when he said university because it's an extended period of time. Nobody in knowing that as a business owner, knowing that you're going to have so many transitions in your employees because they are here temporarily. You're not. I mean, maybe 10 years, 20 years, but like you said. Who wants to be lifting all that stuff at like they're 40 and they're 50, 45, 50, 60s, so you're not gonna, that business itself is not designed for long-term employees. That's why I like that university. It's a transition. Here's a space that you can grow, chase your passions.
Learn some great skills.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Learn great skills.
Be physically active, not have to sit under fluorescent lighting.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite things. I've worked in office buildings. I've worked at grocery stores when I was a kid. I can't be in one spot. I'm Mr. KIM, Mr. Keep It Moving is what I call myself. And it is 100% true. I need to be out there moving around. I love moving because I'm in a new space every day. I'm meeting new customers. The truck is our office. I might be around the same guys, but I'm not working by myself. It's a team. There's so many things that I just fell in love with moving. And
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and I do love that the transitional piece because I think one of the things you were talking about so beautifully, you're 34 years old, you're technically a millennial. You talked about hard work, doing multiple things, still following your passion, but still getting the job done.
I think
And
that
I
was
think
a dig.
So
at
many.
you.
No, that wasn't a dig.
I think that was a dig at you.
No, not at all. Because
no, I'm just kidding.
what we had, I'm shocked when I talk to people and because they don't have the job they want, they don't work. Or because they don't have the job they want, they are miserable
And they
at
make
work.
everybody miserable around them.
And it's like, it could be a stepping stone. It could be learning new skills. It doesn't have to always be the dream job to be a dream every day.
so I heard this one time and I really liked it. It was like, don't do what you love, do what you're good at, and it will never feel like a job in a way. So I'm probably butchering that quote. But say you love basketball. Don't, if you're 34, you're not going to be in the NBA.
Yeah.
But if you're really good at doing, or you could have other jobs within the NBA, you could be the guy, you could work at the stadium, you could do all these other things. So if you really love music, okay, maybe you're not a musician, but you could work at the radio station, you can work in a record store, and you won't maybe not be as miserable.
Find ways to immerse yourself and be around the things that you love.
And be surrounded in the
that
space.
world. Yeah. Or figure out what you're good at and do that. Because
well, there is something satisfying in a job well done.
Don't start a remodeling company if you hate remodeling.
Yeah. Or if you hate
A painting company.
Houses.
And you don't want to paint.
Yeah.
I think self-development, self-awareness is huge.
Mm-hmm.
So have you read any Vex King, Good Vibes, Good Life?
No.
So if you like the 4 Agreements, you will definitely love that.
Okay.
It's a really easy to swallow book.
But I feel like it was for how easy it was to swallow. You talk about it all the time.
Oh
I
my
feel like it was
God.
very impactful.
Yes, it was. The 4 Agreements, I actually put it on audio when I was painting my kitchen. And I'm like, I kept stopping to go make notes, And I'm like, the 5 people you meet in heaven are really, I got a good list of,
Same.
because I like entertaining. I like the way they have a good story. Vex King tells a good story. Well, just the way he communicates it, he relates it to something in his life. I'm all about energy, manifesting, attracting what we want, picking up pieces and putting it down. And I love in the 4 agreements is it's kind of what we were talking about. It's kind of what we talk about almost every week is we actually get to decide, when he's talking about the daughter that loved to sing and the mom, she was having a really bad day, told her,
stop singing.
Stop singing, you're terrible. And she didn't sing for another 20 years or something like that. And it was like, we actually get to decide whether we're good enough. Or we're choosing. Somebody calls you stupid. Somebody calls you ignorant. Somebody calls you this. We choose whether we're going to take that or not. That's their opinion. That's their perspective. My mom texted me something the other day, and I said, hey, just remember, that's not mine.
Yeah.
And she texted it back to me, and so I fist bumped her back, like, I'm 74. And I'm like, you're just a reminder. Like, that was all that was the conversation needed to be said. She didn't need to tell me, go into a long conversation or disgruntled about anything. I just was like, hey, just remember, that's not yours. Stop carrying it for other people.
So I had a job that I did not like, but it was a necessity. I had to have this job. And I was customer service for a Verizon reseller. And, people would call me with problems. And one thing that I did was just listen to them complain. And when they were done complaining, I would figure out really what the problem is so I could have a solution. Because your phone line being down and it being unacceptable when it's down is that's not what's really the issue. What can I get you? What can I do to get you where you need to be, But what ended up happening was, so people would complain. And when you let them, they kind of sort of almost tire themselves out sometimes.
I feel like when you get a live human being on Verizon or Comcast, you're going to be like, you're getting it.
Right, because you finally got a hold of someone. So what the thing is, most people, when you talk to Verizon, you're not talking to a human. With our reseller company, you were talking to a human. So I said, well, if they're talking to a human, they got to get a human being on the side. So when people tire themselves out, then they almost feel embarrassed that they were so awful to you. I would get flowers delivered to the office. People were like, what are you doing to these people? You're getting flowers delivered and whatever. I'm like, I'm letting people just vent. I know how unhappy they are. I know whatever. But there are always a few people who, no matter how unhappy they are, and no matter how much you listen, and no matter how much you fix your problem, they're still going to be unhappy. Yeah. And instead of taking that, because that's not mine, I would say, thank God I don't live with them. Thank God that's not my mother, my sister, my spouse. Because there are people in a business that you're never going to make them happy. And that's not your job. Someone who's never going to be happy is never going to be happy. But if you can attempt to fix a problem and make things better 90% of the time, 99% of the time, you're doing a great job at you're doing a great job. When you are dealing with people in a stressful time, is being capable the thing that is the easiest thing to someone to feel the transition between the two? Like, hey, we've got you, we're capable, we're competent, we're going to take care of this, you can go worry about something else. Is that like the easiest entry point into the scenario?
I'm trying to think of an example.
So when I think of the real estate world, selling a house, selling the house is almost the easy part. It's managing customer expectations, all of that other stuff. When you're in transitioning markets and what happened 6 months ago is not what's happening today, constantly managing the expectations of, well, things are a little bit different now, and this is how we mitigate the changes or something like that. But in a move, people are really stressful, and now something's out of their hands. So what's the easiest way to get into a customer so that you can alleviate their anxiety and make them feel better?
I think so. I'm thinking of a few things. A lot of times the customer isn't prepared. So we'll bring a few boxes, even if we weren't hired to do their packing. I have my guys bring a few boxes just in case. So if we get there, they're like, oh, I haven't packed, or that, don't worry about it. So it's offering solutions
to problems they didn't know they had.
Yeah.
Anticipating problems.
Preparation is huge because if they didn't prepare and we get there, now the estimate's way off.
Yeah.
Now it's going to take a lot longer, or if things aren't boxed properly, they're not going to fit in the truck the way that I thought.
Mm-hmm.
If I bring X amount of guys in 2 trucks, it's because that's what I think that's what we discussed,
Yep.
the client and myself.
And you do this every day. So
Do you
you
go and
kind
do
of
a
know what that
walkthrough?
is.
Do you go and do a walkthrough before you guys?
Yeah. If it's like a small apartment, I just take an inventory list. But
Mhm.
if it's a 3-bedroom house or more, I'll go to their
Mhm.
house. Yeah. Yeah. But preparation is huge. And then if a problem arises on the move, we just provide a solution.
Mm-hmm.
So where's your territory mostly?
My answer before was New England. Then it went from Boston to Lakes region. Now I want to be the hometown Titan. So Hillsborough County, Rockingham and Merrimack.
Mm-hmm.
And not even all the way to the seacoast. We can.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if I just focus on, I grew up in Litchfield. If I focus on Manchester, Bedford, Londonderry, Merrimack, Nashua, Hudson, Concord, and maybe a few other towns
Yeah,
around
Derry.
here.
Yeah, so you've got like
Wyndham.
a radius that you want to focus in on. I think that's good. I
It's
think
where
that you,
most people live in southern New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
What else do you want everyone to know about your company?
we don't hire day labor.
Oh, good.
So there'll never be a guy in your house that we just hired for that day.
nobody getting off the truck.
No.
We didn't pick them up on the way to the job.
You know what I'm talking about. You know when they all
I do know
standing
what
on
you're
the line,
talking
they're all standing by the wall, and the truck comes by and like, hey, we've got employment today for you, you, and you.
Yeah.
So is hiring people a challenge, or do you have enough people?
I have enough people right now.
Mm-hmm.
Hiring people is a challenge because of my standard.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your ideal teams of your group? How many employees do you feel is like the best fit for your company to run smoothly?
And grow.
I think that number changes as we grow. Right now, we're doing very well with 7 people during the winter, which doesn't seem like a lot. But 7 people can take care of a whole house. 7 people can be split into 3 different groups. Normally 2 guys in a truck can take care of an apartment.
Mm-hmm.
Once you start getting into homes, then you need more people.
Mm-hmm.
I like to have one extra, depending on the size of the house. Say it's a 2-bedroom apartment, I like to have 3 guys. If it's a 3-bedroom apartment, I like to have 4 guys. So 1 extra guy per room.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a 3-bedroom house with a big basement and an addition, then I'll have like 6 people.
Mm-hmm.
But 7 people right now for the winter is good. In the summer, last summer, we had 10 or 11, and that was fine. This summer, I'm going to need a lot more.
So if you're talking to Southern New Hampshire and you want to attract employees, who do you want to show up?
Who's your ideal employee?
Who's your ideal employee?
Someone who wants more than to be just a mover,
Mm.
and I can work with you.
Mm.
If you don't know what you want to do with your life,
Mm.
and you're physically capable of doing something, then we can transition you and get you on your way to do what you want to do.
Okay, what's entry employee pay versus, like your best skilled guy or someone who runs something?
Yeah, so I pay the most out of any moving company in New Hampshire, I think.
Nice.
The average pay for a mover in the United States is $16 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
I think the most average is 19, and that's in Oregon or something. I just looked this up. I start my guys at 20.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if you want a
That is
$20
nice.
an hour job where you don't have to sit in an office, you get to be in a different place with a good group of people and have a wonderful boss.
Our
You should
guys,
check out
they make
Move You.
$100 tips all the time.
Really?
All the time.
That's awesome.
$20 is like awesome. Any gratuity is appreciated.
Yeah.
Our guys get $1 or lunch, and they're like, thank you, thank you, thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah.
Mm.
They often tell me, and from my own
Mm.
experience, $100 is all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's a good job for people to feel like, oh, thank you.
And that's just their money. So sometimes our guys get $400 extra cash on top of whatever they made for the week.
Yeah. Because I do think I think you're. We met at a party a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And we were talking, and I said, you should come on the radio. And then whatever happens, right? And then Robyn's like, oh, I've got this great moving company. They're going to come on our radio show. And I didn't put the two and two together, so I'm so glad you're here. I loved meeting you at a non-business oriented type place. So it was really fun to meet you. It seems like your business is doing fantastic. I'll try to hook you up with some realtors and some management companies and stuff like that. We'll kind of do a little list. And then I hope some people who are in this area who want to work in a great company and are kind of undecided about what to do for the new year and know that maybe this isn't the job I want to have for the next 100 years, but while I'm figuring that out for the next year.
If you're moving or you're moving your parents or your kids, we've got a great moving company for you.
Yeah. So Chris Marr from Move U, think of it as Move University. And then we have like a minute or two. What else where can people find you?
You can go to Move UNH. So it's funny. It's like moveunh.com. Our phone number is 603-315-0258. You can call there. You could get a free estimate if you go to our website. We have a form. You just put your name, number, your zip code to and from. It'll go right into our CRM, our software, and then we could give you a call and get a free estimate. And yeah, I think website and phone number is the best way. Moveunh.com, and our phone number is 603-315-0258.
Nice.
I have a question for you.
Yes.
What is one rule or quote or motto that you live by? Well, I see leg days every day, so definitely physical fitness. But what is a hashtag or a philosophy? What's one of your...
I like keep it moving.
I like keep it moving.
Keep it moving's awesome. If you guys look at the business card, our trucks say keep moving forward because we want to do more than just moving. We want to move the community forward. We want to move the guys that work for us forward. We want to help these people that are moving. We're moving their lives forward, not looking at it as a negative experience. It's we're moving your life forward. So keep moving forward, but keep it moving is definitely...
I love it. I love the play on words. Yeah. What I hear from you is you want to be a pivotal stepping stone in people's lives.
Yeah, clients or employees
I
or
love
family
it.
members or friends or anything. You could ask everyone that knows.
Well, moving forward, it's expanding, it's growing, but you're helping people. And I love how you've tied all of that in. You've tied your personal development into it, the way that you run your business, the way that you try to create your community and the guys. I love it. I love it. I love the whole university piece of it, of moving it forward.
Yeah, and I love, you probably need more people in the summer. So if you're in college or in your high school and you're thinking of a summer job, I think you probably need a little bit more people in the summer.
Yeah, if you're an athlete that just graduated high school or college and needs something for the summer, or say you just graduated college and you don't have the job in your degree yet, come over. We'll just work here for a paycheck until you get what you want.
Yeah. Sounds
and
wonderful.
Just grow or flourish or bloom with us.
Bloom. Yes, bloom.
Yeah.
Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Move You. Robyn, it's always fabulous. Thank you for tuning in to Lisa and Robyn on the mic. You were listening on WSMN 1590 AM, 95.3 FM. Until next Thursday, have a fabulous week.
Give you among the lowest